Hey guys, welcome back. You know the deal. It is Monday and we have a new leagues here. We will switch over from Master Duel Meta in a second here when I show you the new leagues. But I just wanted to quickly show you this because I will not only talk about a new archetype coming in the next, let's say, election pack and archetype that I also predicted, but we will get even more, even though we are not quite sure what this will be, at least some stuff of this. You can see right here, there's the World to Roads or Road to Worlds campaign incoming, where we will get a red Supernova Dragon for free at a Royal Finish Rare. Which is nice because it's actually a playable card. Not only in the Red Dragon Archfiend deck, but also in Centurion. And spoiler alert, we will get a Red Dragon Archfiend structure deck. We don't know when exactly, but we'll probably around the time of the next selection pack releasing. And then there will also be, because Road of the World or Roads to the World is coming in like 7 days, there will also be a reprint pack with reprints of good cards probably. And then another pack where we will have new alternative arts in there that you can pull. So Konami definitely giving us a lot of opportunities to spend our gems probably before the new selection pack that we will get at the beginning of June. So next week there are big selection pack reveals coming, also good archetypes most likely. But for this week we have a bit of a weaker one, not super weak, but let me show you what we will get. We will get the Mimighouls. Yeah, Mimighoul is coming, a TCG exclusive archetype. This is nice because we are getting closer to Mitsurugi, a really good TCG exclusive archetype releasing somewhere in the future, but it is kind of far off. But I think it's the one after Mimighoul, if I remember this correctly. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong or right there. So we have a lot of Mimighoul cards to talk about. Most likely we will get them all, which are actually around about 12 to 14 cards, which is crazy. But we will talk about the first wave first, which is from, and you can see right here, the Infinite Forbidden. And then the second wave is from Rage of the Abyss. But since we have already basically finished up Rage of the Abyss as a pack in Master Duel, I would be very surprised if we do not get all of the Mimighoul stuff together, just that we can finish this. Mimighoul, what is this all about? It's actually about you summoning monsters to your opponent's field face down, and then you have different abilities to flip them back face up, and then they do something for you. So we can quickly understand this reading the first card, which is not a card that you're often playing in the deck, but you can obviously Mimighoul Cerberus. I think from an artwork perspective, they're kind of nice. They are also level 1s, and they have some XYZs that require level 1, so that it works. Flip. If this is the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. Banish the top 3 cards of your deck, and then special summon one of your banished monsters to your opponent's field in a defense position, and then you give control to this to your opponent's card. And during your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field in face down defense position. So you have this in your hand on the main phase, and then you can special summon it to your opponent's field, and then you have different abilities to flip this back up. You have the control over the flip monster, which I think it's really cool. Flip is an mechanic that we didn't have in the game for a long time, or you should better say that wasn't really relevant in the game for a long time, but it is now once again. So you special summon this in face down defense position to your opponent's field, and there's also the field spell, which basically requires your opponent to flip the monsters, otherwise they are basically a bit hindered, a bit floodgated, but we will come to this in a second. So then you can flip this for your opponent, and then the opponent will banish the top 3 cards of their deck, and then special summon one of the banished monsters to your side of the field, and then you will get control of the Mimighoul Cerberus. Every one of the base monsters has this, that they basically have a first effect here, and then they come back to your field. We have Mimighoul Dragon, a very strong one. Flip, if it's the main phase, same thing. You destroy all face up monsters you control except Mimighoul monsters. So if you place the dragon on your opponent's field, you flip them, destroy the entire board. Very strong, since you can also decide at the moment at which this is flipped up. Obviously, your opponent can also flip this up, and then you give control of this card to your opponent. So once again, then we have Mimighoul Dungeon. Let's talk about the dungeon later on. Let's firstly talk about the main monsters. It has the Mimighoul Master, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect while your opponent controls any face down monsters, or you control a Mimighoul monster other than Mimighoul Master. So can't really be destroyed that effectively here, because there will be face down monsters, there will be other Mimighoul monsters, and then you can only use each of the following effects of the Master once per turn. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add one Mimighoul monster from deck to hand except this one, so this is a base searcher. And during your opponent's main phase quick effect, you can change one face down monster on the field to face attack attack, or defense position. So this is one of the cards that you can use and want to have on your end board to basically flip your opponent's Mimighoul monsters so that they will trigger and then, for example, destroy the board. Another one of the base monsters is the Mimighoul Slime, also not really being played a lot, also from Rage of the Abyss. Your opponent can special summon one Mimighoul monster from the deck to their field. So this basically gives you the ability, for example, to special summon a Mimighoul Master, and then you give the control, obviously, to your opponent. And once again, doing a main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field and face down. This is everything, it's the same basically. Then we have another base monster here, the Mimighoul Armor, also not really being played. Flip, if it's a main phase this turn, Mimighoul monsters cannot be destroyed by a battle, and then you give control. And then we should have at least one more or two more, no, one more. We have the Mimighoul Ferry. This turn you cannot activate the effects of monsters special summoned from your hand, so a little bit of a lock, and then give control of this. I actually now seeing that we might be missing one card, because there is one Mimighoul base monster that we don't have in here, the Devil or something like this, that basically says when you flip the Mimighoul, but we can also quickly search for the card here, but if you flip the Mimighoul Devil monster, that you can then draw a card. Let's quickly type in Mimighoul here. I have missed one when I was searching, but the one we are missing is the Mimighoul Archetype, which basically says your opponent draws a card. This is the one being played, but I guess the ones that are being played most is the Mimighoul Dragon, and then obviously the Master. Normally you also have one Mimighoul Archetype. Okay, so this is the base mechanic of this. We have a very strong field spell, Mimighoul Dungeon. Mimighoul monsters you control that were not normal or special summoned this turn gain attack equal to their original defense, which actually makes them kind of strong. You can see this would be a 2/5 attack then. So this gives Mimighoul the ability to basically kill the opponent, because obviously these monsters are a bit little otherwise, but the dungeon basically fixes this. Any player who controls a face down monster cannot normal summon monsters nor declare an attack with monsters that were special summoned this turn. So this is where there is a little lock happening here, that if you summon something to your opponent's field in face down defense position, obviously they could just go ahead and not flip this thing up, but they kind of need to flip it up, because if they have face down monsters, they cannot normal summon or declare an attack, which is not the biggest lock, since a lot of decks just don't really need their normal summon, but in recent times a lot of them actually want their normal summon, so this is a nice one. And then also doing a main phase, so every main phase, which makes a very good field spell. If you ask me, you can add one Mimighoul monster from your deck or graveyard. Also very nice that you can also add from the graveyard to your hand. So a field spell that every turn gives you follow up, very strong. Then we have, I guess we have, we have the other spell, which is also very nice, the Mimighoul Maker here. It's a normal spell, reveal 2 flip monsters with names from your deck. Your opponent randomly picks one for you to special summon to their field in face down defense, and the other one you add to your hand, and then you can special summon one Mimighoul monster from your hand, so basically the one you added, but also another one. If your opponent special summons a monster except doing damage type, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target one face down monster your opponent controls, change it to face up a defense position or attack position. So this is another way that you have to flip up a monster. Basically we have the Master, we have the Maker, and then the field spell that basically forces the flip up. So it's so funny that a lot of these new spells, and especially traps, also have you can banish this from the graveyard effect now, especially the traps, which I think is nice, since this makes the trap makes traps better. I hope that they don't give any or every spell basically banished from the graveyard effect now, because I think it balances traps and spells quite nicely, but not if you also give all the spells the same effect, because spells are already better than traps, because you can activate it on the first turn. We have seen the Master, then we have Mimighoul Room, the trap card, special summon one Mimighoul monster from your hand or deck to your field, or in face down defense position to your opponent's field, and then you can also change one face up monster on the field to a face down defense position. Okay, this is a bit different, and then you can banish this card from your graveyard, target any number of Mimighoul monsters you control or cards you control, return them to the hand. So this gives you basically a dodge for an imperm or something like this, or any negation. So a very nice card that you definitely want to play as a one-off. Then we have already seen the Slime. Then there's the Mimighoul Throne. It needs 2 level 1 Mimighoul monsters. You can detach raw material from this card, special summon 1 Mimighoul monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Very nice. During the main phase quick effect, you can target 1 Mimighoul monster you control, give this card to it as an equip spell that gives it 1000 attack, and then you can return cards from the field to the hand up to the number of materials this card had. So obviously you will most likely detach one here. and then you will have one left, and then you can equip this, giving the monster 1000 attack, also bounce something. So a very efficient way to finish a game, basically giving you more monsters on the field, but also bouncing from your opponent, also giving attack points. A very nice card for different use cases. We have the giant Mimighoul 2 level 1s. Once again, your non-XYZ Mimighoul monsters can attack directly while your opponent controls a face down monster. Very strong, because you can summon in a face down defense position to your opponent's field, and then make this. And remember that the throne, basically, or is it the throne? Mimighoul dungeon basically gives all of the monsters push to their defense points, which this one is 3,300, and then they can attack directly. Not this one, but the other ones. So it's pretty easy to finish the game with Mimighoul. And then you can also detach one material from this card and target face-up cards on the field up to the number of face-down monsters your opponent controls and destroy them, and inflict 1000 damage for your opponent for each one destroyed. So once again, very strong. But keep in mind that if, for example, if you destroy monsters that are face-down flip monsters, then they are not flipped, they are destroyed. I had this discussion once in a tournament. And then we have, did we see anything? We have the Mimighoul Charm, which is a card. I don't even know what this does, since it's never played, honestly. Once per chain during the main phase, if a Mimighoul monster your opponent controls is flipped face up, you can randomly choose one face-down monster in your opponent's extra deck, and if this is a monster that can be special summon it to your field, but it cannot activate its effect this turn. If it wasn't or couldn't be special summoned, banish that card. Okay, interesting. Not a bad card, but also just not good enough to be played, I guess. But interesting, obviously. And then we have a Mimighoul Fork, which I think is also not being played. It's a normal spell. Target one face-down monster your opponent controls. Your opponent chooses one of the following effects, and you apply that effect. Change it to face up or defense position. Send it to the graveyard, then its owner draws 2 cards, which the owner is actually you. But yeah, the fact that your opponent can choose, normally he will probably just flip it up to face, attack, or defense position. But yeah, he can also let you draw 2 cards. Not a card being played, but the other ones I talked about are being played, minus the ones where I told you that they aren't being used. And you can combine this with Kashira, you can combine this with Fiendsmith. And yeah, a very interesting deck. This can go second. Definitely, as you have seen, has a lot of kill potential. Obviously, you can also summon face-down defense monsters to your opponent's field on the second turn, basically. So actually not the worst TCG exclusive, has definitely topped regional here and there, but this is mostly what it has done in terms of success. Obviously in the OCG we do not have this deck right now, so we will get this before the OCG, kind of nice. But now I'm very interested. Let me know in the comments what you think of this leak here and of all the other leaks that we will get probably with the campaign coming to us in around about a week. We will obviously have an update for that next week. Let me know in the comments, discuss there. Thanks for being here, and we will see each other in the next one.